My name is Dr. Heidi Hook, and I work in Auburn, California. My practice is Auburn Naturopathic Medicine, and I have a brick and mortar place, and I also do some online consults, and I run some programs. So kind of a little bit of both worlds. It's really nice. I just put together the foundational detox, so it's just foundational detox. But my first program was this program that was burning a hole in me to get out, and it started with the foundational of diet, nutrition, and what can you do to be healthy. And then the second part, I call it the trifecta, right? The second part was complete foundational protocol, and the third part was this, because when we start taking the toxins out, the traumas, the emotional stuff, if you're not your junk, then who are you? And so I put together this program that has everything to do with holistic therapy and taking people through, if they're not their toxins or their traumas, then who are they? Who are they if they're optimally healthy? And so what is their I am? Like I am, and so it was, I had about 9 people on my first course through, and it was transformational for me and really transformational for the people that went through it. And I think I still haven't reached the top, but it's getting closer and closer as I continue to detox, because I tell people that I feel like we've really forgotten what it means to be our optimal human self. We forgot what it means to be a human being in our highest self. Really leading them through the 4-month CellCore detox. But I noticed that the CellCore changed people at that cellular level, where they were then able to go into all those emotions and do all that energetic work. So I've been practicing for 30 years. Before CellCore, I was doing hormones, micronutrient panels, genetics, because I was really interested in the biochemistry and the micronutrients. And then I think it was about 5 years ago, the success that I was having started to really wane, and people were not getting better. I was seeing nutrients coming in because I could heal the gut, but I wasn't seeing it going into the cells, and so people weren't shifting. And I really considered stopping practice, because I felt like I was wasting people's money, because I wasn't getting nutrients into the cells, and just increasing the nutrients wasn't working. So, and then we had another practitioner who brought CellCore in, and a rep came in and introduced us to CellCore. And there's a few things in my life where light gets shown on things. When I met my husband, there's a few things that were like really like the light shone on them. And I remember walking into the room, and she had the CellCore products on the table, and literally there was a beam of light on them. And I went, what are these products? I better pay attention. And so I learned about them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you mean I don't need to get nutrients into the cells for people to detox, which was what I was based my practice off of. And so we can just detox people because the toxins or the binders go into those membranes in the cells and pull them out, so then you can get nutrients in. And it changed my practice from not wanting to practice, probably closing up eventually, to healing myself optimally. I was pretty still high functioning, but even more health that I didn't even realize that I could get to. And then feeling like I was really getting to the, removing the obstacle to cure so your body can heal. And then I got to have more conversations, more fun conversations with people around their traumas, who are they if they're not that? Because that to me is really the juice of, if you're not your toxins, then who are you? And so CellCore has helped me get people to their highest self. And so that to me is why I'm in medicine. The mitochondria make the ATP. And so that's the powerhouse of your cell. And if you don't have ATP, these pathways don't work. You can't make your body healthy and happy, period. And so it comes down to that mitochondrial function that will then allow everything to work. It's like trying to start your car if you don't have a spark plug. and you're just never going to get there. You can put all the gas and oil and water in there, but if you don't have the spark plug, you're not going anywhere. The first time I was here was 2 years ago, and I was completely blown away because it was my people. And so I felt like I completely belonged. But every time I would go up and talk to Dr. Todd Watts, I would start crying because his heart is so big and open, and he's such a example of who I want to be, and wanting to do good in the world. And so I don't think I've ever been in a group that is so about the right thing to do. I think listening to some of the people talk who went from 9 people in their group to 1,600 in their group, I think if we all went out and had 1,600 people, we just can exponentially, it's like grassroots, and we will reach a critical mass where this becomes the norm, and we can really get our world back to this optimal health. And we all think about seed oils and no pesticides and herbicides and connecting to people. And so that, I think, is what excites me, is the big picture, that CellCore is the first company that I feel like is the foundational piece of fueling that so we can get there. I think that CellCore has just changed me, and it's changed the lives of my patients. I'm forever grateful because it has probably made the biggest impact in my 30 years of practice.